Duke Eclipse presents the Horror Hideout Podcast, a podcast covering everything horror, including books, comics, and movies. Presented by Dawson Duke and Kayla Bullock.
Welcome, ghouls and ghosts and goblins.
This is episode 18, our first episode after Halloween. So we're no longer doing anthologies.
Right. So this is actually one that you suggested we do. It's called Vanishing on 7th Street.
I know I've said this about a lot of movies on the podcast, but this is up there in my favorites.
And obviously we're doing our personal favorites first.
Yeah.
For a lot of these. So,
and we're trying to do ones that aren't super mainstream.
Right. So Vanishing on 7th Street takes place in Detroit in 2010. This is our spoiler-free review. And basically people start disappearing.
Yeah.
And we're following different survivors. That's pretty much all I can say without giving too much away.
Yeah.
It's a tense movie. It
is scary, but it's not super gory or
violent. That's
violent.
what I was going to say. It's not really a violent movie, but it's so tense and it's like very atmospheric horror.
Yeah. There's very little blood in this movie and only like one scene of like real gore, but it's more medical gore.
And no nudity.
No.
Right? No nudity in this one. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Come back and join us. I didn't look to see if you can watch it on anything because we have it on DVD.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So, I'm sure...
I will say it's rated R, but that's for language.
Yeah. So, check it out. Come back and listen to the rest of the podcast, but we're just going to dive right in. So, like I said, it takes place in Detroit in 2010.
Yes. And it was shot in Detroit over a period of 21 days, which I think is kind of insane.
Yeah.
And it was mostly nighttime shoots. There were very little. And it was funny because when the director was talking about it in an interview, he said... Detroit was the perfect place to shoot this because it really feels like a ghost town. Like, that wasn't exactly what he said, but that's the gist of what he said.
Yeah. So, and we kind of talked about this before we started recording, but my pet peeve with this movie is that we don't find out people's names when they're first introduced. And I don't know why that annoyed me so bad. I don't know if I had just sat down and watched the movie, if it would have bothered me so bad, but trying to keep characters straight to talk about it. So, I am going to use characters' names from the beginning.
Yeah. So, the first character we meet is Paul, and he works as, like, a projectionist. He works in the projection booth of an AMC.
And he's played by John Leguizamo.
Yes.
I cannot say his last name.
Yeah. Who we know from The Menu, which we have already...
He's been in a lot of stuff, though.
Yes, but I'm saying we've already covered The Menu on the podcast, so that's...
Yeah. And he works at an AMC theater.
Yes.
I didn't know if you caught that it was
Yeah,
AMC.
yeah, he's got the AMC on his shirt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this, of course, if you're young, like Dawson, you probably don't remember going to the movies when there were actually the real projectors, and now it's all kind of more digital stuff. I
feel like the theater still had an old school projector when I was a kid. The old theater...
Yeah, that we used to go to, that was like $1 for the ticket.
But even if it didn't have a projection booth, I've always thought projection like that, the old school projectors were really cool.
Yeah. So Paul is up there and he is he's got a big bright light on, and he is reading about Roanoke.
He's reading a conspiracy theory book overall, and he's reading the chapter on Roanoke. Yeah, I just feel like that's important to point out because he's very much a conspiracy theorist.
If you don't know what Roanoke is, quick overview, it was a civilization back when America first started, and they sent a ship to get supplies. The ship was gone for 3 years. When they came back, everybody was gone from the island, and the word Croatoa was carved into a tree.
Yes.
There's all kinds of different theories. We don't do theories on our show of stuff like that, but that's basically what the story is about. People they just disappear, and most people say, not to get into all the different theories, but most people say they disappeared. Nobody knows where they went.
But there's a lot of evidence that there was a Native American tribe in the area that went by the name Croatoan, and there's a lot of evidence that that Native American group had white ancestry within their DNA, but also in their customs. Like they celebrate something really close to Christmas on Christmas and stuff like that.
Yeah. So just a little bit about that. because it kind of comes back into play later on, too. So,
but within the movie, as far as we know, there's some mysterious colony that disappeared.
Right. So, all of a sudden the power goes out. And the projector just shuts off immediately. And Paul's trying to figure out what's going on. And he looks down into the theater. And people's clothes are just left behind in their seats. There's nobody there. It's just their clothes. Kind of puts you in the mind of, what's the
Left
Behind.
Yeah. I know what you mean by just clothes, but like it's really kind of stuff that isn't organic, because like later we see dentures.
Right, so their body is gone.
Yeah. So anything that was not a part of them is on the ground.
Yeah. So Paul freaks out and runs out into the mall.
And the power went out, so it's still dark.
I did say that.
Yeah, but it's still dark. Is just
Is this when he hears the baby?
Yes.
Or does he meet the security guard first?
He hears the baby.
Okay. I'm gonna let you.
I don't really know if we hear the baby. I don't know if he really hears it. But we see like a stroller. We hear a baby crying, and we kind of see a stroller roll down a ramp. And I don't think we ever see the baby.
I don't think so.
I don't think we see an empty carriage or if the baby's actually in there.
I don't think so.
But then Paul ends up running into a security guard, and the security guard asks him, he's like, everyone's gone, is there anyone in the theater? And Paul is like, no. I do want to say, though, before we get too deep into it, there was a scene where Paul was he was talking to a girl that was behind the concession stand counter, and he said something about, oh, I don't think you'd like it, and she's like, how would you know what I like? And so it seems like he's a very like closed off person, and that he doesn't really have anyone. You know what I mean?
I took it more kind of a flirty conversation.
No, I think it was, but I'm saying that it kind of puts you in the idea with Paul that he's kind of a loner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it doesn't really seem.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. So Paul survived. Paul didn't disappear because he had that light on his head. The security guard had a flashlight. But why would he have had his flashlight on before it got dark? Because if everybody disappeared like that when it went dark, he wouldn't have had time to get his flashlight out.
I have some theories, but I mean, it could have been anything. Like it could have just been luck. Like maybe there was there was like teenagers that were messing around somewhere and he had to go in with a flashlight or something. Like it could have been anything.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I just thought about that when I was watching it. Like, why did he survive?
I would assume he already had the flashlight out for some reason.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Why would he have had it?
I mean, there's a million different reasons you could have had it.
Fine. Be that way.
Maybe your toilet wasn't working. He was looking. Maybe he dropped something behind something and was looking behind it. Like, it could be so many things.
So then we follow Paul and the security guard, and they hear something in a clothing store. Yes. And the security guard goes to check it out.
The security guard goes in, and when Paul is looking at him, his headlamp starts to flash. So he takes it off and starts hitting it to try to get back, and he's looking at it when he hears the security guard yell. And when he looks back up, the security guard is gone, and his flashlight is sitting there off, and then his clothes are sitting there in a pile.
Yeah.
Like the people that disappeared.
Yeah. So then we cut to a hospital.
Yes, a woman running through the halls of a hospital.
Everybody is gone but this one lady. And, but she ends up in a surgery room, and there's a guy having open heart surgery.
Yes.
And because they're doing this surgery, my guess would be it was on a generator, because there's still lights on in there.
I would assume that, or it's some kind of emergency thing, because the lights that are up, it's not a ceiling light, they're their own lights.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're like battery powered.
Maybe.
Or like they're... I don't know how any of that hospital stuff works.
Yeah. But this is like the most gruesome scene in the movie. He's laying there with his chest open for open heart surgery.
But it's really not that bad. It's very much medical gore and not like...
Yeah. But then the lights go off, and when they come back on, he's gone.
Yeah. But it is terrifying, though, because he has the tape over his eyes like he's supposed to be asleep and everything, but he is awake, and he says, help me, right before it happens.
Yeah.
And I think in this scene where she's in the hospital, I think this is the first time we see, like, the things moving in the shadows. We see almost, like, hands moving.
I think you kind of do with the security guard, don't you?
I think this is... I don't think so.
Maybe not. I thought you did. I thought you kind of saw him coming in from both sides at him.
With the security guard?
Mm-hmm.
No, because we're focused on Paul.
Okay.
And he's messing with his light, and then we turn and the security guard's gone. So I think this is the first time we kind of see the shadow or the darkness kind of moving on its own. But it's almost like there's layers. It's almost like there's the darkness, and then there's like this entity in the darkness kind of thing.
So then we cut to
a man in bed.
Yeah, he's in an apartment and he has candles lit, and his name is Luke.
Well, and I just want to say, with those first two scenes leading into this, which is kind of like I almost feel like this is like our real introduction to the movie, you know what I mean? Is with him. But one of the best horror movie openings I've ever seen. Like, genuinely. Like, even just either of those on their own, the one in the mall or with her, those could be their own, like, short movie or, like, short story on something, and they would be... Yeah. They would stand on their own.
Yeah. So, Luke is waiting on his girlfriend,
wife.
I guess? No.
Okay.
His wife is in a completely different city. He took a job in this town.
I know.
And was sleeping with his co-anchor.
Okay.
And that's not his wife.
Okay.
Because later on he mentions going back to
Chicago for his wife. Yeah. I know. But I thought...
No.
Okay.
No. So, she didn't show up, but because there are candles, he's still here.
Yeah. And he woke up in a sunlit room, too. He was in front of a window.
But he figured out that there's no power. He goes down. It's like a big apartment building.
Yeah.
And he goes downstairs.
I feel... To me, I was imagining he was in, like, the penthouse or something. Yeah. Like, it seems like he's...
Yeah.
Especially with the view he has from the window.
Yeah. So he goes downstairs and he's asking, like, trying to ask the guy at the front desk what's going on, and the guy's not there.
There's just the pucks over the chair.
He picks up the newspaper and it's from the day before.
Yeah.
So he goes outside, and I thought this scene was such a cool, just visually so cool. He's out in the middle of this city, and there's all these empty cars and stuff, and then in the background a plane crashes.
Yes, and there's also, like, just, like, clothes on the sidewalk and stuff.
Yeah. And all the there's cars just...
Well, and there's even, I'm pretty sure there's a car that has its door open that there's clothes outside of. Yeah. Which makes me think, because there's, like, an accident that happened. Mm-hmm. Which makes me wonder if the accident happened and then someone started to step out of their car and...
Yeah. So Luke actually ends up going to the news station. He's looking for his co-anchor. Yeah. And there's nobody there.
And he checked his phone when he was in the penthouse and it was dead. And he checks a satellite phone here, and it flashes with, like, a low battery. Mm-hmm. Like, it won't turn on.
Yeah, so he sees a dark shadow, and he follows it.
And then, don't we just cut to 72 hours later?
Yeah, and then Luke is checking cars, right?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Does he get chased by a shadow in the news station?
Yes.
He does here. Are you sure? I thought it was later.
No, maybe it's a flashback. Yep, it's a flashback later on.
Okay, that's what I thought. So yeah, so we just see him, he's in the news station, no one's there, and then we cut to 72 hours later. Before we do that, though, I did want to mention, the building that they filmed the news parts in was an actual news building. It was Channel 7 from Detroit. And the woman who plays Luke's ex-wife is Paige Taylor, who was a anchor for Channel 7.
So it's not his ex-wife then? Is he still married?
Yes.
So is it the co-anchor, the blonde co-anchor?
They say in the interview I saw, because Channel 7 did like a special thing. In the thing I watched on YouTube, they said played his wife.
No, his wife's in there at one point, isn't she, in a flashback?
Yes, that's what they said. She's only in it in flashbacks and in photos.
So it's not the anchor that he's sleeping with.
No.
It's his wife. Okay.
Yes.
You said ex-wife. That's why it threw me off.
I didn't mean to.
Okay.
Oh, and I do want to mention that you can kind of tell, as we get to know him too, you'll see it more, that Luke is a very jaded person. And I feel perfectly fine saying that, even though I say that word all the time, because the director himself said that.
So, 72 hours later, Luke is outside. He's checking all these cars, trying to find one.
And it's pitch black out. Yes. And I do want to mention here that we see a crow. I think it's just a crow on a power line. which shows us that animals aren't really affected.
Yeah.
Which we kind of also see later.
So he's actually in a car. He's got the door shut. He's trying to start the car, and this guy comes up and he's knocking on the window and begging for one of Luke's lights.
And the guy that's banging on the window. Did you mention Luke has like that necklace on? So Luke has like, I don't know if it's like if it's just a strip of cloth or what it is, but it's just like a piece of black cloth wrapped around his neck, or like hung over his neck that goes down to probably like his like mid stomach, that just has flashlights all down it. And so he's checking all these cars, and like you just said, someone comes up and is knocking on the window, and all he has is a lighter that's out of fuel. So he's using the sparks to try to keep the darkness away, but he's begging Luke for a light.
Mm-hmm. And Luke locks the car and won't let him in. And the darkness gets him.
Which, you know what that kind of makes me think of?
What?
Like, I don't know if this was necessarily what they were going for, but like someone on drugs wanting a light to light up.
I can see that.
And how, people just kind of ignore that kind of stuff.
I think it shows, I think it's setting up who Luke is as a character.
Oh, no, 100%. 100% that's what it is, but I'm just saying I think that there's kind of implications there.
Yeah.
And then that guy, the guy with the lighter, gets on a bike and starts to bike away, and then we hear him yell.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when we first see him checking cars and stuff, I don't think we can tell it's Luke yet.
No.
Because he's got like a hood up and he's wearing like dark clothes.
So then he goes in, so then we see he's in a gas station grocery store, and he sees a little girl. And
he's in a grocery store?
I thought so.
Huh, okay.
What do you have?
I just wrote that there's a little girl.
I thought they were inside somewhere.
No, they're outside. They're on the street. She is on the street, at least.
So she takes off running, and he can't catch her.
I didn't think he saw her here.
My notes say that he does.
I did not write that.
I was taking notes as I watched.
I was too, and I wrote man sees little girl and then crossed it out because he never sees her. We just see her.
Okay, maybe he doesn't.
But he does find a working truck, and I think he's distracted by the working truck and doesn't see her. But when he gets in the truck, he finds flares, a lighter, and a gun in the glove box. And we see the little girl run off, and she has a flashlight in her hands, but she has light up like Skechers. That's what I think of, is like Skechers that light up when you walk.
But the truck doesn't actually start.
The headlights turn on.
Right.
When he turns the key. But it doesn't have enough juice to actually start.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is every car he tries, the battery is dead. And it's only been 3 days.
Yeah. So he hears music and he finds a bar that has power.
Yes. And he goes in and it seems like it's empty. And he sits at the bar for a second. I think he pours himself a drink.
Couple.
Yeah. And then the lights start to flicker, so he goes downstairs because you can kind of hear... I think he hears the generator running. I think that's why he goes down there.
Either that or kind of common sense that there's a generator.
So he goes down there and finds the generator running in the basement. And he's kind of there looking at it whenever a boy comes out with a shotgun and is kind of warning him. And he saw the man come in with the...
Back upstairs?
No, they're downstairs when this happens. He comes out from behind like the stairs, kind of. Like that area.
Okay.
Because there's the stairs down, the generator's over here. He comes from the other side of the stairs. And then they end up going back up to the bar. But he gets, but we come to learn the boy's name is James. James gets Luke to give him his gun and flashlight. And then they go upstairs. And
so James tells, I think we find out James is 12. 13,
I didn't write down his age.
I think 12. But he tells Luke that his mom was a bartender there and she had left him there so she could go check a light that was on at the church.
Yes. Well, because a man came in and said there was a light at the church, but he says the man is gone now. Like, taken by the darkness, gone. But the mom still went to the church to check it out.
So, this is where we find out that Luke's been out for 3 days. He's been out
on the street, yeah.
For 3 days. And they talk about how it's 11 a.m. and it's pitch black.
Yeah.
And so Luke is kind of harsh. He tells James, they're leaving and your mom's not coming back.
Yeah. And so Luke is trying to force James to leave because he thinks that it could be better somewhere else.
Yeah. And James doesn't want to leave because he's like, this is where my mom thinks I am. Yeah. I have to stay here.
And do they say how long she's been gone for? I don't feel like they ever say.
No. Not that I wrote down.
Yeah. And at this point, I think they're still kind of arguing back and forth when the woman from the hospital comes in.
Luke has actually turned around and is getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
And he's going to leave James behind.
Yeah.
They've had this kind of knockdown, drag-out, screaming fight.
Yeah.
And again, I think this goes back to showing us who Luke is as a person.
Yeah.
That he would leave a 12-year-old boy there by himself because it's not what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
You kind of got the impression at the beginning, well, throughout the movie, that he's kind of a pompous jerk. Like, he thinks he's better than everybody else, and he's kind of this celebrity type person.
Yeah, I can see that, but I didn't really get that. I just more got that he only cared for himself. Like, it's not even... But it wasn't even like he was acting like other people was beneath him. It was just... all he cared about was himself.
Yeah,
like, he didn't even have time to think about... to think he was better than anyone else, because all he was thinking about is himself.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Like, that's what I got from him.
So... James is actually getting ready to, Luke is actually getting ready to head out of the bar, and the girl from the hospital comes in.
Yes.
And she's screaming for her son.
Manny.
And I was going to ask you that because I put Randy, and then throughout the movie I'm like, I don't think she's saying Randy.
Yeah. I had subtitles on.
Oh, okay.
Which, subtitles are wrong sometimes because I've had that happen, especially on streaming services.
Can't be as bad as when you're watching a video on Facebook and they do the subtitles.
Yeah, they auto-generate them a lot.
So, they finally get her calmed down. And I think... So, I apparently skipped something, but I think Luke is still gonna leave.
Okay.
And they see Paul laying in the street.
No.
Okay.
No.
What
happens here is, she's crying for him. She ends up, falling to her knees, and then we cut to Paul laying in the middle of the street with a gash on his head, and we don't know how he ended up here, but his headlamp is laying next to him, and it's flickering.
Yeah, okay, that's what it is.
I think it ends up going out completely, and he makes it to a solar-powered bus stop.
Yes.
And later we learn it's solar-powered.
Yes.
I don't think they really say that here, but I think if you look right, you can see the solar panels on top.
Did you mention he had a head injury?
Yes, I did. I said he had a gash on his head. Sorry. No, you're good.
But we don't know any kind of backstory about what happened to Paul, and Dawson said that on IMDb...
But I don't like this scene. I'm glad they took it out.
So I'm going to let you talk about it, but again, this is IMDb.
It was
Dawson
IMDb...
listened to several interviews.
Yes.
And this was not mentioned.
But again, whatever the Paul's real name, his
John
actor...
Leguizamo.
There you go. Was not in any of the interviews I watched. It was only the two... It was Rosemary and Luke.
Luke was played by Hayden Christensen, by the way. I forgot to mention that.
Yes. Who plays Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
And here is playing a character named Luke. But, James was also in one of the interviews I watched, but I didn't see any interviews that had him in it. Which I wonder if that's because he's kind of a bigger star. Yeah. Because I don't think, even though, what's his face, Anakin?
Hayden.
Yeah. Even though he is, people know who he is, I don't think he's as, big of an actor. I don't think he's been as many things in, overall.
Well, and you never know with scheduling conflicts and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
He was working on something else at the time and just couldn't be there.
Well, and did you know this? The guy that plays James, from what I saw, this was his first movie.
He did a good job.
Yeah. He did music. That was his big thing. He talked about in one of the interviews how he had an album coming out. But he's been in stuff since. And I haven't listened to his music, so I don't know anything about it. But
So back to the scene
Yes.
that, like I said, Dawson said was mentioned on IMDb. That's the only place we've seen it.
Yes.
I'm going to let Dawson talk about it because I didn't read that.
It says that there was a deleted scene where I think it said he gets attacked by 3 people in a car and thrown out on the street.
And these are like real people, not like shadow people. These are
as far as I know,
physical humans.
Yeah. I have not seen the scene. That's what I read.
Yeah. So, which that is not in the movie, but I just want to throw that out there because we don't really ever find out what happened.
I don't like it. I like it better that not being in there.
Yeah, I could see.
And we don't even know if that actually exists.
Yeah. So take that with a grain of salt. Do what you want with it, but I wanted to add that in there.
Yes.
So then we cut back to the bar, and Luke is serving. Is it Rosemary? Is she the one from the hospital?
Yes. I don't think we cut back to the bar and her serving yet, though.
I have Luke serving her a drink.
I thought this was our first flashback.
After he serves her a drink.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, as they're kind of, Luke and her kind of talking, and he's trying to get her calmed down, we have a flashback to her.
Yes.
And she is a physical therapist at the hospital.
Yes.
And when the flashback starts, she's outside the hospital smoking.
Yeah, she's on a smoke break, and right as she flicks the lighters when all the power goes out.
Yes.
So she has that flame going.
So that's kind of an ongoing theme. If you have light, you don't get taken.
Yes. And I don't think we see her really do anything else in the hospital here. I think we just see her go home.
I think, don't we kind of see her running through the halls? Like it's empty as she's going home. No, we see her on the streets. Right, that's it.
Yeah.
We see her running, and it's kind of the same thing when Luke is out there.
Yeah, but at this point, it's day.
Yeah.
It's still light out.
Yeah.
Because they mentioned later that, like, they already mentioned it once with the 11 a.m. thing. But specifically, Luke said after that the sun was going down earlier and rising later every day.
Yeah.
So she goes home, and this is when we see the dentures on the floor. And she goes up to Manny's room, and the crib is empty.
Yes.
So,
which is so heartbreaking.
Yes. So she assumed, or she hoped, that her baby daddy came and took him. That's her hope, that he's still alive, and that's what happened. So she came to this bar specifically. It wasn't just because she saw the light. She came to this bar because he used to drink here.
Right. But she is smart because she has glow sticks and the glow necklaces.
Yes.
She has a lot of them.
Yes. And she dumps out her whole bag, and that's just like a backpack just full of glow sticks.
Yeah, which is not something I would have ever thought about using, but you don't have to have batteries.
And
you don't have to crack them until you need them.
If you have a place to freeze them, you can reuse them.
That's true.
I was looking it up because I've heard that before, that people say that. Apparently, it really just extends their life, basically, because it like, once they start to die, you can put them in there, and then it, like, basically reactivates the chemicals. But what I was reading online is, it says that there hasn't been a lot of studies done, but it seems like that putting them in the freezer does recharge them a little bit.
So, when we went on that cave tour a couple weeks ago,
yeah,
not me and you, but me and my sister, one of the things we did was a blacklight tour, and they actually talked about and I'm not going to get it right, it might be calcite in the caves. You can draw on it with a blacklight because it excites some of the particles in there, and that's actually part of what they use to make those glow sticks. Yeah. So I think that's kind of cool that we saw it in these caves.
They make shirts you can buy that it just looks white on the front, but then you can get like a blacklight pen and draw on it, and then whenever it gets dark, you can see it.
That's cool.
Because I think what happens is the rest of it glows. Or the parts that you draw on glows whenever it gets dark.
So they hear someone outside screaming.
Yes.
And all three of them go outside.
Yeah, and Luke kind of refuses to help and starts to go back into the bar. But when Rosemary starts to leave, James tries to follow her, so Luke finally is like, I'll just go do it. You guys go back inside.
Yeah. And again, back to him not really caring about anybody else, we're starting to see a change in his character. Like,
yeah.
you guys go be safe. And he doesn't say this, and I'm not,
Yeah.
but I'm the man. There's a woman and a kid. I'm gonna go out. You guys stay where it's safe.
But I still think he's really stupid because he doesn't take his flashlight necklace with him. He only takes one flashlight.
Do we ever see that necklace again?
Yes, we do. We see it later.
Do we?
Okay. We saw him take it off in the bar, and I think he laid it on the pool table. Yeah. And then here he only has one flashlight, but we do see it again later whenever him and Rosemary leave together.
Maybe he only has one flashlight because they were going out to investigate the noise, and he didn't have time to go back and get. Like they heard the scream, so they just ran out there.
I get that, but just go back in and grab it real quick. If you go out there to help him, and your one flashlight you have dies, you're not going to help him.
I know.
It's better to be safe than...
But again, we're still early, and they don't really probably have everything figured out yet.
I know, but if you're in a situation like this, you have to think everything through. Yeah. Every action you take, you have to think about. Yeah.
So, Luke finds Paul
on the bench.
And Paul's flashlight goes out.
Yes.
But
Paul's flashlight doesn't go out.
Luke's flashlight goes out. Like I said, or like Dawson said, it's a solar power.
So it's still lit up.
Yes.
And I don't think it's dying at all. I don't think it flashes or anything. It's still just bright. So they probably could have stayed there and been fine. Like, Paul needed help for his head.
Yeah. I don't know. Because if it's solar powered, and it's darkness
we'll talk
is
about
lasting
it later.
Longer.
We'll talk about it later.
So they hear noises and see movement in the dark.
Yes.
And Luke lights a flare. And they kind of waste their flares, but anyway. They barely get back to the bar in time before the darkness surrounds them.
And he ends up falling and he hurts his leg too. Luke does.
Yeah. And in between this, as he's trying to get Paul back, we cut to James and Rosemary.
Well, and I wanted to say, though, you said they seem like they waste the flare. He drops the flare. He ends up dropping the flare.
Which is a waste.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's why you were saying it was a waste. I didn't know if you said he dropped it.
I don't think I did. So we cut back to Rosemary and James is trying to leave. He wants to go to his mom.
Yeah.
And she kind of steps into that mom role and she talks him into staying where it's safe. Which is kind of sad because he lost his mom, she lost her son, and then you've got, so I don't know. You know me, I'm a sap when it comes to mama stuff.
So they do end up getting back to the bar though.
But I want to talk about the way they do this.
Okay.
So we're talking about darkness coming, and so picture, I'm just going to use this as an example. Picture standing in a spotlight, like straight down on top of you. There's this spotlight, and the darkness is coming in. And as your light starts to go out, it actually starts to take shape. So you've got shadows of people.
Yeah.
You've got hands. It's actually becoming more like... Because when we say darkness is coming, you think of just like...
I don't even see it like that, though. I see it as... In my opinion, it seems like there is something in the darkness. Like, there is the darkness, because it's like there's regular darkness, and then there's like the pitch black of the shadows that move in the darkness.
Right.
And I feel like it's something in the darkness rather than the darkness itself.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the darkness doesn't take you.
Yeah.
It's when it becomes kind of human form, and you've got the hands. That's kind of what gets you.
I did hear someone say, though, in an interview that the darkness in this movie is like a fifth character.
What was that? Oh, we haven't done that one yet. But when we went and watched Christine, that was one thing we were talking about. It was like Christine is her own character in that movie. Christine the car, for those listening. And I think it's really cool when they can take something like a car or something like the darkness that doesn't talk, that's not human, and make it the antagonist of the story.
Well, and I'm pretty sure it was Brad Anderson that said in an interview, who was the director, said he wanted to have a movie with a monster that wasn't like tangible, like that you didn't see.
Yeah.
And this very much is that kind of movie.
Yeah.
and it's scary.
It sticks in your head because you're like, kind of like when we did 30 Days of Night. Like, I don't want to be in the dark. What if there's shadow people in the dark? So they get Paul inside the bar and they lay him on the pool table.
Yeah, and it's Rosemary identifies that he has a concussion.
And I don't know. Do they do a flashback, or I think he just tells them?
He just tells them.
So what they do in the movie, I know we talked about what IMDb said, but what Paul says in the movie is his light was dying, someone came out of the dark and hit him.
When he was in the mall. It's when he was leaving the mall.
Then he was taken. He woke up on a bus stop.
He was taken for 3 days. He specifically says that.
Did he get there? He woke up on the bus stop bench. He heard voices, but there were no bodies, and he was gone for 3 days. So to me, that sounds like an alien invasion, like body snatcher alien type thing.
And he says here, it was like fighting for air when you're drowning. It was like fighting to exist.
But it makes you wonder, why did he come back?
I have a theory.
Okay. Ooh, you have lots of theories.
I know.
So then, and I didn't write these down, and I asked Dawson to if he did while he was watching it, and I don't know if you did. But they're arguing over what happened.
I did not write down all of them. But I did want to say Luke blames what Paul is rambling about on being a fever dream.
Yeah.
But then Paul is like, it was too vivid and too connected to be a fever dream. Yeah. Like, it wasn't disconnected or anything. Yeah. It wasn't disjointed. That's the word I was looking for.
So, Paul, he's going with the story of Roanoke. Like, he's kind of comparing what's happening to them to Roanoke.
But
that's
he mentions wormholes and, like, all these various things.
And that's why I wanted to mention kind of the story of Roanoke earlier. But Paul, of course, Dawson said he's a conspiracy theorist. Yeah. He thinks it has something to do with that.
And Luke brings up, he's the one that brings up alien invasion, but he does it in like a snide manner. Like, he doesn't think it. And then he ends up saying, I don't care, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And doesn't Rosemary kind of bring up the rapture?
Yes, I don't think she straight up says it's the rapture, but,
But something about the good people were taken, or...
She thinks it's God, yeah. She thinks that God is doing this.
Yeah.
And again, we see the lights in the bar flicker, but they end up stabilizing. And Paul says they need to lessen the load on the generator.
So
there's a bit.
I want to say that, and this is a spoiler for the end of the movie. We have all these theories. We have what happened to Paul.
Yeah.
But we never get answers.
Yeah. That's not really a spoiler.
Which is okay. But I think it's cool that they didn't. And you had mentioned this earlier too, and I know I'm taking stuff you were going to talk about, but something like this, it's okay not to know what is going on, because
we've talked about that a lot on the podcast, and I've said this too. Some of the scary stuff to me is when it isn't explained.
Right, and I don't want...
Your imagination can come up with things that are way worse than anything else that anyone could show to you, because you have such a personalized experience of fear.
And see, that's why I think I tend to lean more towards books. I love movies, you know I do, but I tend to lean more towards books than movies on some stuff, because I can use my imagination, and I can make it scary for me. So, this movie, maybe aliens scare you. The thought of it being an alien attack. Maybe, for me, it's Roanoke, that they just disappeared and nobody had... And that they leave that so open-ended. And you even mentioned earlier that even in the interviews you listened to, they said... Because, it's open for interpretation.
Yeah, because there was an interview that was done with the actress that plays Rosemary and the actor that plays Luke, and they were talking to them, and they said, so did the script, like, explain anything else, or did you ever ask the director for any more explanation on any of these things? And they said no. The director said that he wanted people to come up with their own questions and make their own inferences. And that's pretty much a direct quote from the interview.
What was the other one we talked about that was like that?
I don't know.
We talked about something else where the director was like...
So, they talk about how they have plenty of gas for the generator, but Paul says that the generator is dying just like everything else. And there's a door down here, and Luke asks about it, and James says Sonny, who is the guy who owns the bar, or did own the bar before everything happened, said it's where you go when the crap hits the fan.
Yeah.
So it's presumably like a
bomb shelter.
Yeah.
Thing.
I was gonna say like a fallout shelter.
Yeah.
Like a survival bunker.
Yeah, that's what a bunker's word
Yeah.
I didn't think of. So then we have a flashback of Luke.
Not yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Paul kind of freaks out a little bit and ends up like kicking the generator and stuff and almost passes out. And this is whenever Roanoke is really brought up, when Paul brings it up. And he's talking about the Croatoan word, and he says, what if it's like an error message, like everything's going through a reboot?
Yeah.
I like that. And then Paul ends up falling. Like I don't know if he passes out or if he just falls to the floor. And this is when we go to our flashback.
Okay. So this is a flashback of Luke, and he's at the TV station.
Yes.
And Paige is the co-anchor that he's having an affair with.
And the power comes back on for a second.
Yeah. And
for a little bit.
He sees a news report of her, but she disappears in the middle of the news report.
Yeah. And he even goes frame by frame. And the first time I watched this, I was like, oh, they're going to reveal what it is. Like, we're going to see something here. No. She's just there one frame and gone the next.
Yeah.
We don't see anything.
And the film, like, the transitions are so cool.
Yeah.
The way they did it. I mean, it's very smooth. He also sees a report from Chicago where the same thing's happening there.
Yes.
And he hears his brother.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
But his brother's been dead for 8 years.
Yes. Calling from the darkness. And so that proves to us that this is an isolated incident into town, which kind of pokes a hole in what Luke said earlier about, well, if we get out of town, it might be better.
Yeah. And it's also, we learn later on that his wife is in Chicago. So I think that's...
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I think he was making an excuse.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, I think that it being in Chicago was, I think he has regret later on that he left her.
And... So he says here that the guy on the news broadcast says, do not trust any light other than the one that you hold in your own hand.
Which is scary.
Very much comes into play.
Because even like me and you being somewhere together, you can't, that would mean I couldn't trust you. You know what I mean? Like it, and I know, but like, if you want to get technical, like if you were across the yard and had your flashlight and you tried to tell me it was you, do I believe you?
Yeah. So as he's doing this, the guy starts to say a phone number to like call or text if you're still alive. And then right as he's going to write down the number, the power goes off again.
He gets like the first 6 number. Like he gets pretty close. It's like there's only a few numbers left in there before the power goes out. Like he almost gets the full number.
On the TV?
Yeah.
He says the full number, but he's trying to find something to write with.
Oh,
and right as he picks up a pen.
I thought it cut off as he was saying like the very last couple.
No, I think he says the full number, but right as Luke grabs a pen, the power goes off.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he kind of gets chased by the shadows, but ends up finding a window and rips the sheet off of it, and the sun comes in.
Which I thought was a pretty smart move, because I don't know if I would have thought about that. Like, pull the shades down and get rid of the shadows. So then we go back to today.
Yes. And Luke here says they all came to the bar because of the light, like a moth to a flame.
Yes.
Which makes me think of like Venus flytrap stuff, where they give you something in front of you to draw you in.
And they kind of talk about that, like maybe this was set up as a trap.
Yeah, because that Paul says it. Paul says, so you think this is a trap?
Yeah, and I mean I don't really think it is because of the generator being there and James being there.
I don't think it's a trap at all. I think it's showing Luke's distrust of everything.
Oh, that's true.
Because, like, even earlier with, like, they were trying to figure out why it happened, he doesn't care why it happened. Right. It just happened.
Yeah.
Like, he's very... I mean, he's just very jaded.
Again. Yeah. So, Paul is getting much worse.
But I do want to say this. Rosemary says she's ready to die with the generator. She says, what if out there is heaven? If my boy's out there, I'm supposed to be with him.
Right. Which is so sad.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, okay.
It's just... And I get it as a parent, like, I don't know what I would do without my kids.
Yeah.
Even you guys are adults and I don't know, but it just, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. But one thing that she said in an interview that I didn't really think about is that they kind of each represent a different stage of grief.
Yeah. Huh. I hadn't thought about that either. That's deep.
Yeah. And I don't.
Wow.
And she just said that in an interview, so I don't even. It might just be like her personal, like something she thought of, and it's not.
Huh. I never thought about that. I liked her character. Do you know who played her?
No.
I don't remember.
And I don't. I think I looked, and I don't think she was really in anything I knew.
So.
But this is where Luke brings up the truck.
Yeah. So Paul is getting worse, and they know they have to do something.
Paul is laid out on the pool table.
Yeah.
And there's like a light right above the pool table. I do want to mention that.
Her name is. I'm gonna butcher this, and I apologize. Thandiwe Newton. Thandiwe. Her last name is Newton.
But Luke says if they bring the truck to the bar, they can jump it with the generator.
Right. So him and Rosemary go out to actually push the truck to the bar. And
yes,
I think they say, don't they mention?
But before they do, there's a few things we need to talk about. What?
Don't they mention it's like 3 blocks away?
I think they say 5.
5. Okay, I thought it was 3.
But there's a few more things that happen before they actually leave.
Right.
I also really like this line. Luke says they're still kind of on that thing of why are they still here, and Luke says, "I'm here because I will myself to exist."
Yeah. Again, he's. I go back to he thinks he's better than everybody else.
I don't think it's that. I think he's just very self-centered.
Yeah.
But like, because it doesn't seem like he's talking down to the others. It just seems like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like all he cares about is himself.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like I don't feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like he's super judgmental
he's like not
or anything.
mean to people, but like he didn't want to go help Paul.
Yeah. I guess he's a little bit mean to Rosemary sometimes when she talks about religion.
Yeah. But it's also a stressful situation, so...
Yeah.
I mean... So, here we have a flashback of James.
Not yet.
Okay.
James' flashback isn't for a while.
I have that it's here.
No, it's not for a bit.
Okay.
So this is when Luke and Rosemary are getting ready to leave with the truck, but Rosemary gives James a glow stick necklace, and then they end up leaving, right?
She is just very sweet. She's very much a mom.
Yes.
Even to this boy that's nowhere near her son's age, and she's never met him before. Well, I guess maybe she did know him because her boyfriend used to hang out there at that bar.
No, because I think she asked him how old he is and stuff. Okay. So I think it's implied she doesn't.
Okay.
But I did want to say, Rosemary kisses Paul here.
Yes.
Paul is basically like, not to be mean, but he kind of gave me incel vibes. Because he's like, I've never really tried with women all that much. Tell me, do you think I could have one? I don't mean you necessarily, but just in general. And then she kisses him.
I really like him as an
I do
actor.
too.
I really like him.
That's my thing with his character in this movie, because he almost feels pitiful in some of the, like, how he acts sometimes with things like that, but you don't hate him.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that you feel a lot of pity for him, but you just kind of get him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of understand where he's coming from. He's just kind of a loner, and he's a little awkward.
I mean,
yeah.
somebody you would root. He kind of reminds you, puts you in the mind of Zombieland kid.
Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, so I do want to say this. So when Rosemary and Luke leave and they're walking out, we hear a dog barking, and then we actually see the dog.
So again, animals haven't been, as far as we know, animals haven't been affected.
Yes.
After they leave...
He's wearing his flashlight necklace, Luke is.
Okay. The lights go out at the bar.
Well, first we see their flashlights dying.
Whose?
Rosemary's and Luke's. Their flashlights are dying. And they kind of discuss, like, why is this truck still working? And then Luke jokingly says, because it's a Chevy. And then he says, there is no reason. There's no reason to anything. Things just happen, basically.
I kind of thought, and maybe it's me, maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of thought because it was an older truck, maybe it didn't have all the technology that the newer vehicles have, and so maybe that had something to do with it, because, I mean, people say all the time,
well,
if our power grid went down, we wouldn't have cars.
Well, that's like, people talk about with EMPs, some older cars I don't know how it works, but you don't need the battery to start it.
Huh, I didn't know that.
But I think it's like old cars.
Yeah. Oh, probably the cranky ones.
No. Like newer than that, but like older cars.
Yeah. So my first thought was why was because it's not a new car.
Yeah.
This truck may have it. Maybe it doesn't depend on electricity, not electricity, but technology as much as what the new cars do.
So they put it in neutral and they start to walk it back to the bar. This is when this is when we cut back to the bar. We see Paul is kind of slurring his speech and starts to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And earlier, Rosemary told James, do not let him fall asleep.
Yeah.
So Paul asks if James will turn on a song for him. And Jay turns on the jukebox, which is kind of skipping and kind of glitchy. And this is, we get here, when the music starts playing, we get a scene, like we get a view of the outside of the bar, and this is one of the coolest scenes in my opinion. Nothing happens in it, it's just a view of the outside of the bar, but just the muted music coming from inside, and it being the only light around, it's just like, it's very, it's just cinematic.
Yeah.
And it feels so alien and so comforting at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then this is when we get our flashback.
So we have a flashback of James. Of course, his mom worked at the bar.
Yeah.
And basically, we don't really learn much except for that he would hang out at the bar while his mom worked.
He just kind of walks through. I think he high-fives a few people, and people know who he is. And then he goes up to the bar and is playing with, like, a truck. And then his mom hands him, like, a Coke.
Yeah. And I think she kisses his forehead or something.
Yeah.
So we get to meet his mom.
Yes.
Which I like, but we don't really learn anything. But I think... my guess is that was setting up for how he ended up there.
Yeah.
Like, that was the night that everything...
Oh, yeah. That's what I thought, too.
So, we do see why he was there. I mean, he's a 12-year-old in the bar, but it made sense. But that's pretty much all we learned there.
And he is snapped out of his daydream by Paul yelling his name.
Yeah. So then we go back to Luke.
And Rosemary.
And we find out that Luke's wife is in Chicago.
Because she stayed for his job, but he moved.
She stayed for her job, and he left to take this anchor job in Detroit.
Yeah.
So that's what we were talking about earlier when he was in the news station. Like, I was from Chicago. It all kind of ties back together.
And then at this point, all the lights around Luke's neck die. And then we go back to the bar where the power flashes.
Don't we see the little girl?
Not yet.
Okay.
So we cut back to the bar and the power flashes while James is getting a new rag for Paul's forehead.
Yeah. And was he down in the... No, he wasn't. Never mind.
No, he's just in the bathroom.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking he was right beside the generator, but he wasn't.
No. Are you saying because he can't hear him very well?
No, I was just for some reason thinking the sink was... Then I'm like, duh, there has to be bathrooms.
Yeah. Oh, and then so we're back outside and Luke puts a fresh battery in his flashlight and then it dies.
Yeah.
And
the glow sticks aren't working.
Not yet. I mean, we'll get to that, but this is when we see the girl with light up shoes.
So she's the one we saw before. She's I would guess she looks like she's maybe 5.
She's pretty young.
4 or 5, 6 maybe.
Yeah.
She runs away and Luke goes after her.
Yeah.
And he falls.
And she's still got her flashlight in her hand.
Yeah. And he almost gets taken by the darkness, but Rosemary turns on the headlights of the truck at the very last second and saves him.
And this is when we cut back to the bar and we see Paul get up. So the lights were off. They flash back on, and they stay on in their study. The music is steady, and Paul gets up and goes to the bathroom where James was, and James is gone.
And we just see the bowl and the rag that he had
on
the floor.
And this is whenever we go back and we keep cutting back and forth between these two scenes. Yeah. This is whenever Rosemary reveals that only one of her glow sticks is working.
And okay, so this is why I thought he was in the basement. Because then we cut back and Paul is in the basement and he starts down that tunnel.
Yes.
Or down, he goes in where they thought it was like a fallout shelter. But I think that's why I thought he was in the basement, because I thought the sink was right there.
Yeah. But then, she only has the one glow stick. Luke tries to light the flare, but it won't light.
Yeah.
And so Luke ends up going to one of the cars and uses like a car antenna to pry something open.
I don't know.
But anyway, he ends up, or no, he uses a car antenna as the handle for the torch.
Yeah, that's right.
He wraps it in a rag and then dips it in gas that's in the
that's what
truck,
he does, right.
or in a car.
Right.
And then again we cut back to Paul, and that's whenever he goes through the door, and it's like a hallway with lights on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we see it now, but that's what it is whenever he does go in. Then we cut back, and Rosemary left the lighter in the bar.
I want to say on that hallway, the tunnel that he's in, I call it a tunnel. It's just creepy because it's this big long tunnel, and there's the scary movie where they're in a hospital, and as what is that movie called? I don't remember. But the lights start going off end by end.
Yeah.
And then they're just stuck in the middle. What is that called? Do you know what movie I'm talking about? I could see the girl. She's crawling on the ceiling. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But anyway.
Are you thinking of Split?
No.
Because he does that in Split.
No. I don't remember what it is. But anyway, so it kind of puts you in the... Like, it kind
Does that happen in Scary Stories?
No.
Okay.
Maybe, but that's not what I'm thinking of. But anyway, that's kind of the hallway that put me in the mind of was, you know...
But the lights aren't going off here.
No, but that's what is that movie?
I don't know. But anyway, so Rosemary left her lighter in the bar, and then, so Paul, the reason he went in the bunker and he's walking, or like the tunnel, is because he heard James' voice coming from it. He's trying to find James, and he hears James' voice. And so Rosemary and Luke just have the one glow stick left, and they run into a clinic that's nearby that's like, I think it's like a drug rehab clinic.
I thought it was the hospital.
I don't think so.
Because she used to work there. She didn't work there.
She didn't work there.
Lights Out was the name of that movie.
Okay. I have not seen that. And so we see them go in the clinic, and then we're back with Paul, and Paul finds the end of the tunnel where there's another door, and he opens the door, and there's just a brick wall. And this is when the lights start to turn off one by one, like what you were talking about. And Paul just keeps saying, "I exist," over and over.
Which is sad.
Yes.
I mean, it's just so sad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked Paul.
So then we come back. We see James in the bathroom again, and he comes out and finds Paul's empty clothes on the pool table.
So what do you think really happened there?
He was on the pool table the whole time. Because at the end, whenever he's looking up the lights as they're turning off, it turns into the light on the pool table. He never got up and went anywhere.
Gotcha.
And I have some more to say about that. And one thing I wanted to point out was, the entire time we were in Paul's vision, no matter what, the lights did not flicker, and the music never skipped. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did not.
So
then we go back to Luke and Rosemary.
Yes.
And we find out that the clinic that they're at...
Well, first they use matches from behind the desk to light the torch.
Yeah.
And so Luke they save themselves.
Yeah, and Luke kind of is asking her how she knew they were there, and we find out that she actually goes to this clinic for drug rehab, right?
She did. She got clean for Manny.
Okay. So she tells Luke that she's going to go get alcohol for the torches, and so she leaves.
That is not that you need like a tragic event to be so so godly, but that makes sense why she was so convinced that this was punishment of some sort for them.
Yeah.
Because it seems like probably she became a Christian after she got clean.
Yeah.
Either that or she was raised Christian, then got into drugs, and then after she got clean, she
went back.
Yeah. Which I have a great uncle that had experience with that. But,
several times.
Yeah. But that makes sense as to why she could see it as punishment for them.
Yeah.
Because she basically implies, earlier whenever she says, what if that's heaven out there, she kind of implies that they're stuck in hell.
Yeah. So, she's gathering up the alcohol and she hears a baby crying.
Yes.
And so she goes outside and, again, like a spotlight, and it's on this carriage, and the cries are coming from the carriage. And it's like Dawson said on the news report.
Well, she drops her glow stick.
Right, but like you said on the news report, don't trust anybody that's not your own. So she drops her glow stick and she runs out to the carriage. And when she gets there, it's empty.
Yes.
And then the light goes off.
I don't think we see the light go off. The light's on her, and then we cut to Luke. He comes out and sees her, and there is no light. She's just standing in the darkness.
Well, that's... Yeah.
But I think what that's showing is she sees a light, but he doesn't see anything. He doesn't see the light there.
But she sees him disappear. No.
He sees her.
He sees her disappear.
Yes. And so her clothes fall, and we also hear her say, "I exist."
Yeah.
And
it's just so sad because I don't know. Gosh.
So.
Then we come back to
James.
And he's trying to keep the generator going. Like,
yes.
The kid is struggling to get.
And I did want to mention earlier, whenever they said that they needed to turn stuff off for the generator, one of the things they turned off was the lights in the basement.
Yeah. Which is actually not necessarily the lights in the basement, but I would have never thought about that. Like, we don't need the jukebox on. We don't need all of this on. What do we need on right now? I wouldn't have thought about that.
Well, and they even say, go unplug the neon signs.
Yeah.
Like, they think about that.
Yeah.
I think the characters in this movie are very smart.
Yeah, like, maybe in that situation I would think about that, but, I mean, just...
And, I know we're not done with the movie yet, but I do want to say this here. I saw some people talking about this movie and saying, well, why don't they just start a bunch of fires? Do you know how easy it is for a fire to get out of control?
Yeah.
Like, yes, it might help, but it could also hurt a lot.
Yeah. And you start fires and you don't know if there's people holed up in...
Yeah.
The building across the street.
And you still need food and water. You can't just be burning buildings down.
Yeah. So.
And like we saw a burning car and stuff outside.
Yeah.
So maybe that doesn't work long term.
Yeah.
Because I mean, still you gotta have fuel. You gotta go find the fuel. You can't.
Well, and stuff only burns for so long, regardless. I mean.
Yeah,
but you set a car on fire, it's not gonna burn.
Well, that's what I mean about fuel. But you have to leave to go get fuel, so you need something you can take with you. And they do try fire. He makes the torch and stuff, so it's... I don't understand why people think you can just, like, burn down a whole city.
I don't know.
Anyway.
But, so then we see Luke, and he's pushing the truck back to the bar.
Yes. And he gets back to the bar, and, he gets, to James, and... Is James in the dark?
I think James had just got the generator going again.
I feel like darkness is coming. Like, the shadows are coming towards them. And then when Luke comes in, they back off.
Maybe.
But I
was taking notes, so I missed some stuff.
I don't even know if it's because Luke has a light, or if it's just because... I'll talk about it later. But,
They do get the generator back up and going.
Yes. And then they go to jump the truck. Luke stays in the basement with the generator, and... has James up with the truck.
Right.
And they get the truck going, but all the lights in the bar goes out.
And Luke is still inside the bar.
Yes, but he runs and does manage to get out there.
Yes.
And
but one big thing he keeps telling James is, because when he goes to take the
what?
Charger off the battery cables off, he tells James...
Jumper cables?
Jumper cables. He tells James, he says, you have to keep your foot on the gas for the truck.
That's not yet.
Yes, it is, when he goes to take him off of there.
He doesn't go to take him off.
Okay.
He comes back to the truck. He reverses. The hood of the truck is still up. And he reverses partway down the road, and then he stops, and he says, don't take your foot off the gas, I have to shut the trunk. But it's not till after they reverse. Because when they reverse, there's boxes of apples in the back of the car that spill out, and I wanted to mention
Shut
that.
The hood, not the trunk.
Yeah.
So as they're sitting there, and Luke gets out to...
Luke shuts the hood, and we see a church. The headlights are lighting up a church.
Yeah. And James gets out and goes inside the church.
Yeah, and the truck starts to sputter and die. So Luke gets in it, and...
he's just going to leave James behind.
Yeah, he ends up speeding off. And so... we see James go in the church. He sees, like, candles up near the altar, and then we keep cutting back and forth between him and Luke. And Luke's driving, and he sees Croatoan spray painted on a bridge. And then...
in between all of this back and forth, James can hear his mom whispering to him.
Yeah. So, James is going towards his mom away from the candles whenever Luke rams the truck through the front doors.
Right.
Which, not to be... pedantic or pick it apart, but did you see the way the truck is driven through the doors?
I mean, I watched it.
I mean later whenever they leave the church.
No.
It is like through only the 2 front doors. Like he missed all the bricks on the side. He just perfectly fit it in there. Upstairs. If you're bumping upstairs, you're never going to go perfectly through the doors.
Yeah.
Because like it's like the sides of the truck are like against the sides of the doors.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he lined it up that well.
He's awesome.
Yeah. So
Luke gets out of the truck to go get James.
Well, James is up by the candles and finds his mom's clothes.
Right.
He, like, picks up her coat. And Luke is out of the truck and is walking up there when the truck dies. And we just hear Luke say Anna as he disappears.
Yeah.
So
James is the only one left, and he's surrounded by candles.
Yes. And they kind of start going out, and it kind of reminded me of Trick or Treat with the jack-o'-lanterns.
Mm-hmm. They go out one by one, and he keeps saying, I exist.
Yes, and there's only one candle left. And then we see the sun. It
Finally.
rose. Yes. And then we see...
You set it up where you think that James is gone.
Yeah. But then we see that candle is still lit, and we see that James is still in that huddle.
Yes.
And the light-up shoe girl comes into the church and says, why are you in my bed?
And we finally learn her name.
It's Brianna. But James goes to leave, and she says, please don't leave me. So he stays.
And she's such a cute little girl. She reminds me of, it's not the same girl because I look, but she reminds me of a younger Cindy Lou from the Grinch movie with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
She's just so adorable.
But she reveals that the reason her flashlight never died is because it's solar.
Yes.
So it seems to me that solar stuff still works.
Right. Too bad the adults in the movie hadn't figured that out.
Yeah. I know, they could have stayed at the bus stop. That's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, but they'd still have to have food and water and...
I know, but they could stay at it till the sun rises and then get stuff while the sun's up.
That's true.
Anyway, they see a horse eating apples in the middle of the road.
Which
the apples that fell out of the truck, yeah. And so then we see them riding it out of the city, just like down the middle of the freeway that's full of a bunch of cars, like people disappeared out of.
Yeah.
And we see the sun go down in the background.
And we hear whispers and the shadows are coming back.
And then Brianna's flashlight comes on.
And I don't know if you said this, but it shows that they're headed to Chicago.
I didn't say that. I just said that they're leaving the city.
If you look at the street sign, the road sign, they're headed to Chicago.
Okay, so that's the end of the movie. I honestly think this could be the pilot to a TV show.
I kind of like where it ends.
I do too, but don't you think that'd be cool?
Maybe, but I kind of like where it ends.
Yeah.
Usually we're opposite. Usually I'm like, this should have a sequel.
Yeah.
This needs to have more, but I was so sad that Luke died and Rosemary died.
Yeah. I know.
I don't know if they died, but they're gone. So when she goes out to, and maybe I made this up in my head, but she goes out to the baby carriage and she disappears, I swear you could hear her say thank you to Luke as a shadow person on the wall.
All I heard was "I exist."
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, maybe I'm making it up.
And I think I saw this on IMDb, but someone pointed out that the only people that you don't hear scream when they disappear are the main characters.
Yeah.
Because like when the security guard disappears, he screams. But our main characters, it's like "I exist" and Anna. Yeah. Okay, are you ready?
Sorry, I was just thinking. So, again, we kind of talked about this throughout, but there's not closure in this movie.
Yes.
But I think with this one, it's okay.
The other thing I wanted to say is the CGI in it is very, very good. Like with the shadows, like it never looked fake.
Right.
I
was actually surprised when you said there was CGI in it.
Yes. The other thing I wanted to say, I don't know if I said this earlier, no green screens or blue screens were used. It was all shot. And like I said, it was shot in 21 days.
Yeah, you said that, but I don't know if you said that to me or if you said that on the podcast.
I don't know either. And I told you this earlier, too, outside of the podcast. It did remind me of The Mist, the way it's just kind of focused on a group of people in one location for a long time. It's kind of a bottle movie.
I got a lot of, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, but
and I did
some Zombieland vibes, only because of like the highway with all the empty cars, and then like I said, the one character I kind of related to Columbus.
I did mean to mention earlier, whenever he's backing up the truck, we see the headlights light up the street sign that says 7th Street. So the bar was on 7th Street.
And the horse is a police horse.
Yes.
He's still got all of his gear on, and it's a policeman horse.
But what I think is great about this movie is it's such effective horror without violence and without jump scares.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't seem like you agree.
I was just trying to think. The shadows really aren't jump scares.
No.
So I agree.
I
actually forgot how good this one was when you mentioned you wanted to do it. I knew I liked it, but I forgot how good it was.
Well, and I also, darkness is just like such a primal fear.
Yeah. And
I really think it's not necessarily darkness that scares people, it's being alone in the darkness.
Well, and
not knowing what else is out there.
That's what I was going to say. The other thing is, like, I'm not scared of the dark. You're not scared of the dark, but when you were younger, you were scared of what's in the dark.
Yeah.
So it's not being scared of the dark, but it's like, where we live, we're surrounded by fields a lot of the year. So when you take the dogs out at midnight, what's in the cornfield next door? You know,
and sometimes you hear stuff in there.
You hear something rustling, and it's like, okay, what's in the dark cornfield? You know.
And then a deer pops out.
And then you've got Clown in the Cornfield book where it's a killer clown in the cornfield, but so it's very atmospheric, tense horror, I think. And again, I love that we don't have a clear, definitive what is going on.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we need this.
The thing about this movie is it's such a character-driven narrative.
It is.
If any of the actors in this movie were not as good as actors, this movie would not hit as hard.
Right. And even James, like you saying that this was his first movie, he did phenomenal.
Yes. And I think I read that this was his, like, film debut, but he also, in one of the interviews, he said, this is one of the first projects I've worked on. So I wonder if he was in something else.
Something kind of little.
Yeah, or like a TV show. Because I think it said film debut. So he may have been in, like, a TV show or something. Anyway, do you want to hear about my theory?
I do.
So, like I said before, with the whole darkness thing, I don't think the darkness is what's taking people. I think it's something in the darkness that's using the darkness. Because if you see, there's multiple times where our main characters end up in darkness and live. Like, there's when Luke's in the bar and all that. Like, they get it covered in complete darkness. I think the things have to stay in the darkness, which, this is kind of a dumb thing. Like, dumb frame of reference. Unless you're a big nerd. But, like, in He-Man, there's these creatures called the Shadow Beasts. And they can only come out, like, at night. Like, they can't really be in light. And so, in the 2002 show, the way that Skeletor gets him into attack is he ends up, like, plugging up a volcano so it blocks the sky. So the Shadow Beasts come out. but like they can't be in the sunlight. They have to be in the dark. And so I wonder if it's something like that. But I don't think it's like a tangible creature the way we understand creatures or anything.
So
and
the guy that plays James, his name is Jacob Lattimore. He was in one episode of One Tree Hill before vanishing on 7th Street. But I don't know. I think you've seen this movie. He was in Maze Runner.
Yes.
He was Jeff in Maze Runner.
Yeah, and I did see that. I just forgot about it. But that was after this movie.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? Oh, but like I said, I think it's like there's some kind of intangible entity within the darkness, because we see like the darkness, and then we see like the pitch black darkness that's like looks like people moving and stuff like that. So I think that's why they end up in darkness and are okay for a minute, because I think the thing has to move with the darkness, but I think it's slower than darkness. You know what I mean? Like that. Like I don't think it moves at light speed.
But then how do you explain like the security guard?
Because he was in like a dark room and his flashlight died. Where like Luke, the whole bar was lit up. The darkness had to, like, I feel like it had to start from outside and move in. Okay, that makes sense. Like that's, in my mind, that's kind of how it is. Yeah. And the other thing I think is, I think it's harder for it to take groups of people. I know it takes all the people at the beginning, but I think the people that survived, it's harder for them to take. Because think about every single time someone disappears. It's when they're by themselves.
Yeah, but I don't know about that theory, because like the movie theater, everybody's gone and they're in the same room.
Yeah, but I think I think it's harder. To me, it feels like it was like it could be like this Eldritch entity, and it was a planned attack. That was the plan. These are the people that survived. So these are the ones that did not fall within the plan. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Like it made a big move at once, and the people it missed, it doesn't have.
I was just reading a book like that.
Well, no, and imagine if it's this big Eldritch entity that's like extra dimensional. If it just fed a bunch, maybe it's not as worried. Maybe it's more sluggish because it just engorged itself on that many people.
What was that book I just read? I seriously just read it, and it was kind of along those same. It was very similar to that. What you're talking about.
But
man, my brain is shot tonight.
What was I gonna say? Oh, and I think it has a harder time taking people that don't have anyone. I think that's why Paul came back. I think the darkness tried to take him. He heard the disembodied voices, but he didn't recognize them because he's not close to anyone. It's not till after he gets close with the people in the bar that he gets tempted away by James's voice that he gets taken.
Now that makes a lot of sense.
And what I was going to say about the baby is, I wonder if it was harder for the entity to take babies. Like, I assume it did eventually, but I wonder if it was harder for it because I wonder if it has to lure them away mentally.
What the heck was that book? This is driving me nuts.
So, if it's a baby, it's not as aware of people and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, maybe it was harder for the entity to take babies, so it took it a minute to get to that point, and that's why that baby stayed. Because otherwise, why would the baby stay? It was dark. There wasn't a flashlight on the baby carriage.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
So I wonder if it kind of had to adapt. But I wonder, like, I genuinely wonder if it had to pick the people off in the bar one by one because it was kind of tired from everything it was doing. Yeah. And I wonder.
Maybe it was because the bar was so much light.
Well, that too.
You know what I mean? Like, the movie theater was dark already.
Yeah, but whenever it took
the screen.
Whenever it took Paul, why didn't it take James too? Because they were in the same level of darkness.
I don't know.
I wonder if it, because it does like the hallucinatory stuff. I wonder if it has to like tempt you. Like, it could be demonic.
Yeah.
And, you know, demons are all about temptation. So maybe it has to tempt you away.
That makes sense.
Even if the tempting is not malicious on your end. Like, if it's just going after someone you love. You know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense.
But, like, I wonder if that's part of the reason that, like, James and his mom survived initially because they were there for each other. They both had each other. Right. So, I wonder if there wasn't really any voices in the darkness that they could go hear. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if... And I very much feel like Luke is one of those people that didn't have anyone either. Like, even if he was in, like, a relationship, I don't feel like it was... Because he obviously had feelings for his wife. But I wonder if in his head he just didn't... You know what I mean? Like, he was just kind of done with people.
I mean, obviously, the woman he was cheating on her with was... to me, it just seemed like it was like a convenient thing.
And that's why I mentioned the stuff about Paul at the beginning, where it's like even the concession stand lady that it seemed like he kind of had a crush on, he didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
Like, he seems like a loner type of guy.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why they survived so long.
I cannot believe I cannot remember the name of that book. That's gonna drive me nuts.
So what do you think of my theory?
I agree with most of it.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with a lot of it. I don't really have any theories on it.
I don't think I would have said the thing about I think it's harder for it to take a group of people if it didn't seem like it was picking people off when they're alone, and then when they're in the basement with James, I don't think the lights flicker at all. But the darkness is coming towards James until Luke comes down there.
But does he have a light on? Does Luke have a light?
I don't think so. I think he just comes down there.
I don't know. I feel like I need to rewatch it.
And I think part of the reason... So, I know... the thing with Paul, how I said he doesn't recognize the voices. So, I know you haven't read the Gone series by Michael Grant. And spoilers for the end of the first book. It's not like a major spoiler, though. But basically they find out that whenever you turn 16 and you're, like, supposed to disappear, you can avoid it. What it does is it appears to the person you love most, whether that's your mom or whatever, and says, like, hey, come be with me. And you can most people just went with it, and that's why they disappeared. Everyone just chose to go with it. So our main character in that story is the first one that says no and stays, and the entity gets mad. But that's how I feel like Paul was. The entity kept saying, like, oh, come with us. But first of all, he's knowledgeable about conspiracy theory, so he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then second of all, I don't feel like he was close enough to anyone to follow their voice.
That makes a whole lot of sense. I never thought about that.
And that's why I don't like... I'm glad they cut the scene, if it exists, of him getting thrown out of a car by random people.
Yeah.
Because I like it a lot better if the darkness took him and he refused to go.
Yeah, I do too. Huh. You thought a lot about this movie. No, seriously, I like that because you thought a lot deeper.
No, I love this movie, and I could probably do a whole podcast just on this movie, just watching it over and over and noticing new things, because I feel like I notice something new every time I watch it.
What was the name of the bar?
I didn't write it down.
I didn't either. I liked it, though. I don't remember what it was, but I liked it.
But the thing about the TV show is, this movie feels like it could be. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of movies feel like they've told their story and they're done, but there's so much you could do with this concept.
See, I kind of feel like maybe it would get, like, repetitive. Like, Walking Dead, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
I watched, like, the first 3 seasons of Walking Dead, and I gave up because it was all, oh, we're going to go here, and then the zombies get to us, and then we're going to go here, and it's the same story, but the zombies get to us. And...
Yeah, but I think it could be, because, you know, I like Z Nation. And I've only watched, like, the first season of The Walking Dead, and I started watching the second. I didn't like it. It was so boring. Nothing happens.
Again, it's a repeat of the first season.
No, it's not. Nothing happens in it.
Well, I mean, basically they go hide somewhere and then zombies come.
Yeah, but that's not really what the first season was.
Oh, lot of it.
I disagree.
Well,
I think that's all the second season
we're not
was.
talking about what we did, so
Yeah.
Anyway.
But Z Nation has, like, I think 5 seasons, and it never felt like it overstayed its welcome. Because, so, the first season, they, basically, they have to get from one coast to the other because they have a guy that has, like, the cure in him. And, you know, different things start happening and all this stuff starts happening. I think if the concept was handled right, this is just such an interesting concept that I think so much could be done with it, that I want to see more. But at the same time, I wouldn't want them to ruin it. Like, try to explain it, or...
I think as much as you love the movie, you may be disappointed with more. Because, okay, so let me ask you this. Say you're the writer for a TV series. What are you going to do with it? They get to Chicago. The same thing's happening in Chicago, right?
I mean, not necessarily.
Well, I mean, obviously it is because of the news report.
Yeah, but, I mean, you could do more things with it.
But if you never explain what's going on and there's never a solution, where you...
But they mentioned multiple times in the movie they compare it to a passing storm.
That's true. That's true. And I thought so much when they were on the horse at the end that it was just going to be, like, go back to normal life and then the darkness.
Yeah, because... And I think the implication there is that the sun rose and set really fast.
Yeah. And that's when the sun rose, I was like, oh, yay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Didn't work that way.
I wonder about it. Because we know that the shadows can induce hallucinations. I wonder if it's getting stronger and if the sun actually is out. Because the solar-powered stuff still works.
I'm going to say yes, the sun was actually up because they didn't get attacked.
No. I'm not saying the sun wasn't up. I'm saying the sun was up, even when it was dark outside. Like it found some kind of loophole where it makes them think it's dark, and that it, like, feeds off fear or whatever, and it makes them see it as being dark outside. Because otherwise, how would the little girl's flashlight last so long? Because it's just a solar-powered flashlight. How would the bus station stay on?
But they never said the days didn't have sun. They just said the time was getting shorter.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
But eventually you're not going to get enough sunlight to charge the battery in a flashlight and stuff.
That's true. But the little girl didn't use hers a lot because she was surrounded by the candles in the church.
When she also had her light-up shoes.
That's true.
I just thought that was an interesting idea.
You
I don't necessarily
on this one.
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe that. I just thought that was interesting. Well, do you feel like there's anything else you wanted to talk about?
I'm gonna figure out what the name of that book is. It's like this. If you like this movie, read this book, and Dawson can put it in the...
I'll just wait till next episode. You can bring it up next episode.
Okay, because it's driving me crazy that title because I literally finished it this week. But next week we're doing one of my top favorite movies.
Yes. And it's a cult classic.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
And
if you have not seen Cabin in the Woods and you are into horror, you need to go watch it.
Yes. That'll probably be like one of our longest episodes because there's so much in that movie to talk about. And then the week after that is our book for November, which is The Road by
Cormac McCarthy.
Thank you. So if you haven't read that, I still haven't read it yet, but if you haven't read it, get it, check it out, use your library, whatever.
Yeah.
So that you know what we're talking about with this one. And I will say that we had kind of went back and forth on doing the book and the movie, and you've seen the movie.
I've seen part of the movie.
And you said it's so similar to the book that there's really no point in talking about both. So we're going to do the book.
It is just an inferior version of the book.
Okay. So we're going to do the book. Let us know what you think of Vanishing on 7th in the comments. And if you have any suggestions of what we should do, let us know.
Yeah. Have a good day.